In Tallahassee tonight, the deal makers are crying in their cocktails. Today's vote rocked the political establishment in this state.
There was businessman Rick Scott who rocked the political establishment in Florida thanks to a $50 million investment, beating Attorney General Bill McCollum, the establishment favorite. Although the millionaire apparently had a cash bar at his victory party.
Nice.
Good to know.
And of course, the political establishment was also rocked in Alaska. Top Line begins right now. Welcome to Top Line. I'm Jonathan Karl.
And I'm Amy Walter.
Each day we bring you an unscripted, unrehearsed, unbiased show on all things politics. And with that, Amy, what is your top line?
All right. Well, my first top line, it is Miller time in Alaska. Joe Miller may pull off the biggest upset we've seen this year. With 98% of precincts in, he is up just under 2,000 votes. We still have a lot of absentee votes to count. But if he wins this thing, John Karl, wow, a lot of reverberation. Sarah Palin, Tea Party will get a lot of credit for it.
No, I mean, let's be clear. This is, if it goes the way it's trending now, this is the biggest upset of the year, the third incumbent senator to go down. And this is not just any incumbent senator. This is a member of the Republican leadership. They assured me and you yesterday that there was no way that Joe Miller was going to win this. Well, they're Miller time in Alaska. Next up, Marco's moment. The winner of the Democratic primary in Florida, who was it? It was Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, the Republican candidate, was the real winner because we had a decisive victory for Kendrick Meek for the Democratic nomination. What this means, Amy, as you well know, there is now no way that Democrats can run away from Kendrick Meek, and it's going to be much harder for Charlie Crist to get the kind of Democratic support he is going to need to win that race. So a very big night in Florida for Marco Rubio.
That's right. Remember, there are more Republicans in Florida than Democrats, so Marco Rubio's path much easier, and I don't think has to worry about losing a lot of that Republican vote to Charlie Crist, the hug candidate. All right, moving on to Great Scott. You saw in the opening video here, Rick Scott shocking the political establishment with his win last night. But Democrats are just as happy to see him as the winner, hoping to tie his controversial business background around his neck this fall. The Democratic Governors Association already up with ads for Alex Sink.
Yeah, and you know, when you've been hit with a billion-dollar fraud lawsuit, you know, this stuff can tend to be a good fodder for Democrats. And finally, thanks, Dad. Out in Arizona, they are sending us another quail to the Congress. This is the first time in almost 2 decades that we will have a member of the Quayle family in the U.S. Congress. Ben Quayle it is this time. And Amy, what was interesting here is that in the final stages of this campaign, he got a big boost from Mom and Dad, who came out to defend their son's honor in wake of these attacks that he had written for some, racy website called Dirty Scottsdale or something.
I mean, come on. People are willing to look beyond that. It also upends the conventional wisdom here that having a family name is a bad thing in this election.
Then again, it was a 10-way race. He got
25% of the vote. Yes.
All right. Well, we've got a special edition of Top Line here. 2 of our favorites right here in the studio with us. Doug Heye with the RNC, Brad Woodhouse with the DNC. Thanks for joining us both. I've got to talk to you, Doug, right off the bat about your man up in Alaska. I want to see how excited you are about Joe Miller. Before I do, I want to flash back to a Top Line appearance that he had where he said this.
Non-employment compensation benefits have got to, first of all, it's not constitutionally authorized. I think that's the first thing that's got to be looked at, so I do not favor their extension.
Okay, so you have a candidate who thinks that unemployment benefits are not constitutionally authorized. First of all, you embrace that?
Well, we embrace whatever candidate needs to do to win. Every candidate campaigns in a different manner. Every governor is a different governor. Every senator is a different senator. But we look for candidates who can win.
Is that a mainstream Republican position that can win?
Well, it's certainly one that we have a lot of people in this party who have talked about. And certainly the Constitution is a key talking point for our party. It's something that we do every day.
I would say wow to that. That's pretty extraordinary what Doug just said. Whatever a candidate needs to do to win, whatever position they need to take. So we see a candidate in Alaska who says that unemployment compensation is unconstitutional. I'm sure he wouldn't say the same about benefits to the oil industry, for example. And then Sharon Angle, who we know now, said a year ago that there are subversives and enemies of the government in the halls of Congress. So if Republicans will say whatever they need to do to win, I think we might be in better shape than people think.
Can I respond to that? Because it's very interesting that Brad says that. Not too long ago, Tim Kaine, the DNC chair, said that any candidate who's campaigning against Barack Obama or Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, is quote unquote crazy. Now, we have several candidates, incumbents, not people who are running for office for the first time, incumbents. Mike McIntyre from our home state of North Carolina. Jason Altmaier today has a new ad where he talks about running against Obama and Pelosi. Joe Donnelly in Indiana, all incumbents who are running against Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi. So you either embrace that or, as the chairman said, they're crazy. Now, I worked in the North Carolina delegation. I disagree with a lot of things that Mike McIntyre did, but I don't think he's crazy.
Well, I think
clearly your chairman does, so he should defend that.
Doug, there's a big difference between Democrats and gerrymandered districts deciding who they might want or not want to campaign with them, and someone who says unemployment compensation is unconstitutional, and another candidate who says
in North Carolina, the Democrats did redistricting, so if Mike McIntyre was gerrymandered, that he ought to complain to his own party.
We should take out Second Amendment remedies against the Congress, like Sharon Angle has said.
All right, so what are you going to do about this, though?
We're talking about candidates who can win.
All right,
our candidates can win.
Well, that's going to be the next question, which is...
I think you might have a...
Well, are you going to do something then to help your candidate in Alaska? He has $4,000 in the bank right now.
What's his name, by the way?
Well, our candidate in Alaska.
Yeah, what's his name? What's his name?
Well, his name is not Lisa Murkowski. His name is not Lisa Murkowski. Look, here's what I can tell you is that there's a narrative that is being drawn here. I mean, you look at the Republican candidates. We have and also look at what's happened to establishment candidates, incumbent candidates. I mean, last night was a bad night for Republicans, and to say otherwise, Republicans did not want Rick Scott in Florida. Republicans did not want Lisa Murkowski to lose or nearly lose and will probably lose in Alaska. And so it was a rough night. The last couple primaries have been very tough.
Right, by the way, Doug?
No, we didn't, look, the RNC doesn't take positions on this unless a candidate has a Rule 11 letter. I do know my RNC rules. But we have candidates who can win.
Was well behind.
But Rick Scott can win. Whoever emerges, and we don't know yet from the Alaska primary, is going to win. John McCain certainly is going to win in Arizona. But what we see is, again, Democrat after Democrat, we want to talk about themes and narratives, running against this president because he is unpopular and the job market and the housing market is dying. It is dying, and this president hasn't done anything to fix it.
Okay, but let me say,
to try to win, and I don't think that's going to attract independents in the end.
May have been a bad night for Republicans.
I agree.
I think but it has not been a very good year for Democrats. Now, I just want to bring up something that your chairman said, quoted in today's Las Vegas Review Journal, said, "I do think there are some things on the message where we can be sharper." That is Tim Kaine. I imagine Doug might agree with that, but where are some of those things where the Democratic message could be sharper?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't account for the Las Vegas Review Journal being a very fair publication of Democrats. So I don't know if that quote. I don't know whether or not that quote was taken in a proper context or not. But I think it would be crazy for Doug or I to say that our parties or our party leaders couldn't do better on the message. I mean, is the message that they have candidates that think unemployment compensation is unconstitutional? Is that really the message that they want? I can tell you this. We're going to have a sharp message in the fall about Republicans and what they want to do, which is what John Boehner said yesterday. They want to go back to 19 months ago. He kept talking about 18 months this, 18 months that. Well, 19 months ago, we were losing 750,000 jobs. We had Dick Cheney and George Bush in office. So that's what Republicans want to do. And we're going to be damn sharp about that going into the fall.
Regardless, I just want to actually move back to Florida for 1 second, going back to some of these candidates that you'd be helpful with. I asked about Alaska.
Right.
You think you're going to get involved there monetarily? And what about for Meek?
Well, look, we've been, the president was down there for Kendrick Meek. Tim Kaine has been down there. We did a lot of GOTV work. We have already put in nearly $800,000 into the Democratic Party in the state of Florida. So we're going to be involved. We're going to be involved in Florida. We've taken virtually our entire staff, our Organizing for America staff down there, and they are part of the coordinated campaign. And we're putting a lot of resources in the coordinated campaign, and we're going to put more money into Florida.
Are you going to go negative on Charlie Crist?
Well, look, I think we don't run IEs out of the DNC, so that might be a question for somebody else. We are going to do what we can.
Suggestion to the IE.
We are certainly going to be behind Kendrick Meek.
Can you say something bad about Charlie Crist for me?
Well, look, Charlie Crist is a Republican.
I would disagree with that. And he hugged your president.
And the fact of the matter is, well, I'm sure he's not the only Republican that has hugged the president. But
does Tim Kaine think he's crazy?
The fact of the matter is that Charlie Crist is a Republican. There are 2 Republicans in the race. There's 1 Democrat.
All right. Do we have to leave it there? Or
We do. Sadly, we're out of time. But thank you very much, Doug Heye, Brad Woodhouse.
This is a special occasion, by the way, for Top Line. I feel really bad.
Exactly.
We're going to have you back.
Well, we'd love to do it.
All right. Thank you very much.